one day I'm standing there and I hear excuse me, and I turn around and it's Harrison Ford, and I'm just like,
oh,
yes, hello. And I try, you gotta act like you don't know who they are. You can't like, holy Indiana Han Solo, what the? And I'm like, I had a crush on her when I was like 11 years old, and I'm like talking to Brooke Shields. I'm like, oh my God, just trying to hold it in. Literally the Oscars this is the day after the Oscars. Greg Kinnear and his, yes, just talked to Bill Murray.
Pocket Party.
And we're back. Hey, everybody. It's Darren Carter, the party starter, with the one, the only Craig Coleman.
Yo, what's up, man?
What's up, dude? I like the Los Angeles hat.
Thank you, sir. Got it in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Is that one of those hats, like if you left the state or you would think twice about wearing it?
I wouldn't wear it out of state.
Exactly.
People out of state are California. It's like, oh well, whatever shithole this is.
Yeah, dude. Whenever I have any kind of like Dodgers or this, I'm like, you know what? I don't I leave all that stuff in LA. I'm like, I'm not really a big sports fan. It's usually stuff that was given to me as a birthday gift or something. And I'm like, how you gonna, you know what I mean? Like someone's gonna try to, what if they're drunk and they're like Dodgers? And I'm like, dude, I just wear blue because it matches my eyes. Yeah. But I like the graphics on that though. Los Angeles. That's that old school. When I was a kid growing up in Fresno, there was we would try to write like old English, like the old school cholos. Remember, you put the E. Fresno. We'd make the E's.
Exactly. This the tattoo font, prison tat font.
Exactly.
It's this store. It's called EK in Los Feliz on Vermont. It has these crazy t-shirts. I guess the guy's kid is autistic, so he'll whip up he designs the t-shirts, and it'll be like Chinatown, and it's a dragon. The Valley, it's a cockroach.
Oh wow.
And and so they're all these they're all original, just completely original, that you're never going to find these shirts anywhere else. And so he had they have these dope ass hats. We love going there. It's this weird little store that just says all this fantastic stuff.
And they have, he gives each part of Los Angeles like its own little thing. Like
yeah. Like Tarzana is just this. It's this old picture from a movie, and it's just some barbarian woman in like a half shirt and looks like a Tarzan.
Was it? I wonder if it was Raquel Welch. You think it was
probably
Raquel Welch?
Is. Yeah, that sounds right, from like a Tarzan movie. Yeah. And it's stuff like that, and it's just these crazy ass clothes and coffee mugs, just silly stuff with slee stacks on them, just weird stuff.
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah, and honestly, you're just never gonna find this stuff anywhere else. Completely original store.
That's funny. Slee stacks, man. I went down memory lane the other day, and I don't know how I got onto it, but I ended up, maybe the YouTube algorithm, but I ended up watching it was every Scooby-Doo theme song from 1969 to present.
Nice.
And I realized, like, in the earlier days, those are the ones that I remember, like Scooby-Dooby-Doo,
sure,
where are you? And then I even remember this in elementary school, that it changed a little bit. So it's interesting to hear the change. And then I totally I stopped watching Scooby-Doo once I get a little older. But it was interesting to see how it transformed. Like, whoever was doing it like in the early 2000s kind of had like a Green Day sound to it. Might have been Green Day, I don't know, but probably not. But it kind of had that Green Day vibe of, and then the more recent ones were like auto-tuned, like
yeah.
I was
my daughter's watches it or used to. So I've got to see the progression. She likes the old ones the best. She watches all the movies. I mean, she's a big fan.
Oh wow,
big fan.
That's cool. And so where were you today? Are you coming from the same place, or are you moving around? By the way, let's tell people what you do. So when you're not doing comedy and podcasting and you scout location and working as a site rep.
Site rep, yeah. So I watch people's homes, their houses, when they film inside people's houses. And so today was it's called a tech scout, where they've picked the house. We're gonna film these scenes in this house, and all the departments come and they're like, we're gonna light this, we're gonna do this. Hey, can we bring cable in through this window? We're going to get rid of all this furniture and bring in all of this stuff. And I just take notes and make sure that the homeowner's cool with everything. And so today's is it's a movie, it's a Netflix movie. I think I can say this much, with Eddie Murphy.
Wow. Dude, that's huge. How do you like the show so far? Pretty good, right? By the way, here I am acting with John Travolta in the movie Be Cool. Check it out. If you like this show and you want to show your support, every little bit helps. Go to DarrenCarter.com. I'm on PayPal or Venmo at Darren Carter Comic on Venmo. Also, I'm available on Cameo, and also Jemmy. All right, let's get back into the show. Oh, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Wow, dude, that's huge.
Oh yeah, so it'll be his character's house will be.
Wow.
We were looking at his character's house, and it's the guy who director or creator of the show Blackish and Black AF. Black AF is hilarious. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
No, I got it.
Yeah, the dude's hilarious. He's a genius. And so he's the director, probably wrote it, creator. He's a brilliant guy. And so we were there today, and with the owner, who also works in the industry, which is great. And so he knew a lot of the people, and he's pretty cool with everything. Like, some people aren't cool with everything. It's difficult.
Yeah. What is it?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what kind of is it like I'm picturing when I picture Eddie Murphy, I'm picturing a big house. Is this like this big, really nice house? Or is this character
nice? Yeah, it's a nice house. It's not a mansion or anything. It's a kind of a simple house, but it's a nice, the design. The guy who built this house studied under Frank Lloyd Wright.
Oh wow, a little bit. So it's a little bit old school house.
It's an old school house. It's pretty cool looking, far out house. They don't make them like this anymore. But it's not outrageously big. It is what you would.
Yeah, because I was wondering, why would they choose this particular style of house for this movie?
You never know why they pick, a certain house, because they're going to just be in the living room of this house, and they're going to be in the bedroom, and the bedroom's actually going to be turned into, it'll be his home office.
Yeah.
Which the home office is next to the bedroom, but the home office doesn't have the view that the bedroom has. So we're going to take all the bedroom stuff out and turn it into a home office. And so the pool is right there. So he'll be able, when they film that shot, he'll be sitting at his desk. You'll see the pool.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. It's funny you bring up Eddie Murphy. I was just talking about, with my wife this morning, and when you ever been nice to, well, I'm sure you have, but like you're nice to people just because you're being nice, and then later you find out that they have here's what it came out to. So my son, he's got a YouTube video, for his music, and one of the videos was, I don't know if we talked about this last time you were on, but like it got to like 10,000 views, and then 1,000, and then 10,000, and then 100,000, and then I know 300,000, 400,000, and now it's like almost at 900,000. Hopefully it'll hit 1 million, and it's interesting because there was a kid at school that was sometimes nice to him, sometimes not, blah blah blah, but he's definitely friendlier towards him, and we were just wondering if it had anything to do with that. You just never know, because it's in a weird way, like it does kind of in a positive way, I guess, if you is successful on, social media, it kind of adds a little bit of clout. But then I also look at it the other way where, I've also had people walk right by me because they're comics, they're up and coming comics. And they're like, that guy's not hot right now. Like, I want to go for this person. And it's just like a weird world and time that we live in, when it comes to that. And if you have any thoughts on that, we could stop here and then continue.
Yeah, no, I mean, and high schoolers are weird anyway. So who knows why?
Well, he's 8th grade, but but still, they're that age of like, and it could have nothing to do with it, but it was, it is interesting. And also maybe it just gives the kids something interesting to talk about. Like, hey, Austin, I heard your YouTube video. I like your videos, so in a way I'm trying to think positive because my mind kind of went negative where I'm like, well, it's good now, but what happens if he falls off like his old man?
What about, what if your next video is dog shit, kid?
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to my world.
Yeah. What if the 9th grade you fell?
Well, here's my point, because I was telling my wife, I said, I go, it's cool because a lot of times I'll just be nice to people just because it's more in my nature. Like I don't know, whatever. So there was a girl at the Comedy Store who would, she'd be in the front booth and answer the phones. And I always thought she was really friendly. And then she started playing piano, and I knew her for probably about a year until I found out her father is a very famous person.
Yeah.
And it's Chevy Chase. Oh. And I was kind of like, oh, wow. In my mind, I'm like, I'm glad I was always cool to her. I was never like one of those prick kind of comedians or people that's like, you know what I mean? Like just,
Well, in this town, I'm just nice to people and I've seen it happen. Like you're nice to this dude and he works in the mailroom. 2 years later, they are running shit. And that's literally how this town is. It's like, you don't know who they are. You don't know what they do. You don't know what their motivation is. It's sometimes the mailroom guy, Puff Daddy worked in the mailroom. People are interns. They just start at the bottom, and sometimes they just become a middle management dude or whatever. But you never know what they're going to do next. You don't know what, honestly, you don't know what they're going to be. PAs. You start out as a PA, production assistant. It's the lowest paying job. You could do that for 5 years, and then before you know it. That guy's a producer. Yeah. That guy's, because they're just sitting there learning everything. And so I'm just nice to people because you never know when they're going to be in power and they're the gatekeeper and they're like, I remember you and I hate you. I've hated you for a very long time.
Oh, you know what? It's funny you say that because since I've been doing comedy since I was about 19, maybe that's part of it. Maybe part of me. Maybe that developed my personality. Maybe, I don't know. Because I definitely remember hearing an older comedian back in the day when I was starting out. He goes, be nice to everybody because today's comics are tomorrow's bookers. and so maybe in my mind, I was like, oh, okay. But it made me pleasantly surprised where I was like, oh, wow, I was cool. It wasn't like in my mind, I was thinking, it wasn't like I was kissing up to this person because I knew their father was Chevy Chase. You know what I mean? Like I have another example. I'm at the boxing gym and there was a guy, like I would always be friendly to him and his dad. It was a father's son, like the father's the trainer, the father's holding the mitts, the son's like the boxer, right?
Right.
And I just thought that it was cool, like family bonding like that, father son. And I remember like even one time I heard the son say something like, he had something with his eye, like dry eye or something. And I was just thinking, you know what? I overheard that. And the guy's a nice guy. I had some eye drops in my car, got the eye drops, gave them to him. I knew that he worked with like, I think children with disabilities or something. I just thought he was a regular guy, him and his dad, but I liked them anyways, just nice, whatever, come to find out.
That young man was Apollo Creed. No, I'm sorry.
Dude, come to find out the father in the scenario, the guy holding the pads,
right,
is Eddie Murphy's brother.
Charlie
Murphy's brother. No, Vernon. Yeah. I would recognize Charlie. But it was Vernon. It's Vernon Lynch, and his son is Brandon Lynch. Wow. And I was around those guys for a good almost 2 years before I even knew. I was like, oh, and I'm thinking Eddie Murphy was like the reason, biggest reason I became a comedian, because it was the 80s and watching him, and I'd repeat his jokes mixed with my own stuff. And I repeat his jokes like at school, and you're so funny. I'm like, well, that's Eddie Murphy. I'm just imitating but they're like, well, what about that Popeye thing you did or whatever? And I'm like, but anyway, so it was just like, it was kind of cool. Yeah. And so, and anyway, I told my wife that story. I go, I had no clue it was Eddie. And she's like, yeah, right. Like Yoko Ono didn't know about John Lennon. Yeah, right. That whole thing. Cause Yoko claimed she had no idea who John Lennon was. She goes, like, he wasn't hitting the pads. And every time
she may not have.
I know.
I worked with a lady who, she didn't watch TV, wasn't into movies really, like her husband was, but she wasn't. And we worked at this high-end children's store in Santa Monica. And it's this I forget the name of the street, but it's this kind of a tucked away street that a lot of famous people would come in, and like, they loved Molly because she had no clue who they were. To her, they're just these nice people. And so like literally the Oscars this is the day after the Oscars. Greg Kinnear and his wife, he just won an Oscar the night before. He comes in and he's like, hey, is Molly here? And I'm like, whoa, yeah. I'm all Molly. And she's like, oh, hi, Greg. And then whoever his wife was, I forget. And they're like, and she's just like chatting it up with them, helping them out. Then they leave. And I'm like, you know who that is? And she goes, well, yeah, that's Greg and Sally or whatever. And I go, he won an Academy Award last night. She goes, oh, is he somebody, Craig? And I'm like, holy shit. And I mean, Brooke Shields came in to show her baby. Like, oh, hey, I just wanted to show Molly my baby. And I'm like, I had a crush on her when I was like 11 years old. And I'm like talking to Brooke Shields. I'm like, oh my God, just trying to hold it in. And again, Molly's like, oh, hi, Brooke. And just no idea. Doesn't even know Brooke Shields is famous. I'm like, how do you not know who Brooke Shields is?
I know Brooke Shields with her beautiful like eyebrows.
Yes.
She was oh my gosh.
And an amazing person. Amazing, cool, sweet, nice person. That place was crazy.
Yeah. Where it was on Santa Monica. It was like Santa Monica and 4th.
No, so it was on God, my wife would remember the street. So like Santa Monica proper, where regular people go, was out there. And then there's this side street that like only like super rich people know about, because you and I wouldn't shop there. There's literally nothing on that street that we would want to even buy or afford. Maybe the Panda Express. That's probably the only place you would even dip into to buy something.
Oh, I thought you for a second it sounded like you said the Pandemic Express.
Yeah. And they it's just high end, ridiculous amounts. Like, I mean, one day I'm standing there and I hear excuse me, and I turn around and it's Harrison Ford, and I'm just like, oh yes, hello. And I try, you got to act like you don't know who they are. You can't like, holy Indiana Han Solo, what the and he had just Clarissa Flockhart or whatever, she had adopted some kid and they're together, and he's like, yeah, I need to get some furniture for a boy. He's like 8 years old, or for however old that kid was. And I'm like, yeah, sure, like, here's the boys section. He goes, okay, yeah, you know what, how about that bed? That looks cool. We'll get that. That dresser's great. And let's throw in a lamp or two. Hey, how about that bike? And I'm like, yeah, great. And he's like, yeah, let's get one of those bikes. And he just literally just furnished this whole place. And then he's just like, gave us his card number. And he's like, all right, my guy will come by later to pick it up. And it's this old Mexican dude, and this old beat up pickup truck comes by, and he's like, yeah, I'm here for Mr. Ford's stuff. And we're just like, holy crap.
Wow. That's so cool. That must be so nice to be able to just look at stuff and be like, I would like that and that, and not have to be like looking at the price. Well, do I really want that one?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was like one of those game shows where the people are like, "Oh, and for $500, I'll take the thing and blah blah blah." Yeah, it was unbelievable. And again, a really cool guy, super nice.
I made my wife laugh
totally
though
friendly.
I made her laugh when I told her about because she was like, "Yeah, right. Like you didn't know that was Eddie Murphy's brother." I go, "No, I really didn't." She go, and when we were imagining like him hitting the pads, and every time he hits him, he's like,
you know, wait a minute.
Yeah, Hercules. No, I'm just like, yeah. Wow, that's gonna be Are you gonna be there when Eddie Murphy's there?
I mean,
you might
be. Yeah.
I'll
be in the house, of course. Absolutely, I got to keep an eye on the house. That's literally my job. But whether or not I'm in the room when Eddie comes in, that's a whole other story. And I won't say a word to Eddie.
Yeah.
Not a word. Nope.
You'll just be the wallflower in the back, eyes and ears, just, yeah.
If he walks right by my face, I will stand there quietly. If he looks at me and says, "Good morning, hello," whatever, I'll say, "Hello, Mr. Murphy," or "Hello, sir." And that's it. If he engages me in conversation, we'll have a conversation. But if they don't, I do not talk to them. I let them.
Yeah. That's good, man. Because they want to get work done. And it's got to be hard if people are constantly like bombarding them with questions and little,
that's also the quickest way to find yourself fired. Hey, so your site rep bum rushed Eddie Murphy right before he shot his scene. Yeah, not cool.
Yeah. He brought up some boxing gym and how there's a relation and he was nice to his nephew and didn't know. Yeah. Right. It's like, yeah. They could care less. It's like,
Yeah. That would like Bill Murray. He comes running in when I used to run it was an abandoned hospital. He comes in and I just hear, "Hey, which way to set?" And I turn around and it's Bill Murray. And I'm like, "Whoa, that way." He's like, "Thank you." And I was like, "Yes, just talk to Bill Murray."
That's cool. That's cool. He went, "Thank you." That's so cool.
Yeah. I was like, "Good enough, buddy. Good enough."
Yeah, that's great. That's great too.
Fantastic.
That's got to kind of, burst the bubble. If there's someone you really like, and then you're seeing them not be that character that they, you know what I mean? Right. That nice person or that thing that you like about them. I've heard Henry Winkler talk about this in different interviews, where he's like, "You know what? I made peace with that, with the people think, the fawns." He goes, when people, it gives them that moment, it makes them happy. And he goes, if I wasn't, if that made me miserable every time someone called me Fonzie or something, because I'd be miserable every day, so
you gotta accept it. Yep. You gotta accept it. You gotta roll with it. You decided to be on TV. You decided to be one of the most recognizable faces on the planet Earth. Accept that shit, or I don't know what the fuck you are doing in this goddamn business, to be honest. The people that, I understand getting hounded all the time, but you know what?
Yeah.
When that's who you are, that's who you are. Like Mark Hamill is one of those people who embraces it. And I think it's amazing. Think about Paul McCartney, dude.
Yeah.
Like he's just one of the most recognized people on the planet. People love the Beatles, like crazy love the Beatles. That guy, there's not nowhere that guy goes that people aren't like, "Oh my God, Paul McCartney." He diffuses the situation. He's like, "Hi, how you doing?"
I know. I saw him at the Hollywood. He was at the Hollywood Improv, and it was really cool to see him and in the back row watching comedy. And it was like, whoa, Paul McCartney's right there. Like, wow, he's like right. You're like looking at him. And then at one point he went to the men's room and there was a couple of comics in there and they got photos of him and stuff like, he posts for quick photos and it's pretty cool. It was pretty cool. I don't know if you saw those photos floating around, but I was like, damn, that was pretty good.
Living God. Honestly, he's a living legend. That's all
I got lucky enough to be in a movie, and it was called Who Made the Potato Salad? And one of the stars of the movie was Jaleel White, also known as Urkel. Remember Urkel? Like, did I do that, Urkel?
Right.
And he said one night it was him and Webster, Emmanuel Lewis. They were in Atlanta in a nightclub, and they were up on the balcony. Yeah, together. They were up on a balcony, and the DJ stopped the music and he goes, "We got special guests in the house," and he put the spotlight on them and was like, and it was, Urkel and Webster. He said the crowd lost their mind. It was just like, oh my gosh, like, wow.
I mean, yeah, dude. The fact that they were in the same space at the same time, it's like, wait a minute, what?
He said that his because I asked him about that sort of thing, public recognition, and he said that he goes, you know what, I give people that Santa Claus moment. They're like, wow, like you
got to,
and then you just keep it moving. Thank you, da 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 da. And I'm sure as time goes by, that stuff fades. But in that moment of that time, that decade or whatever,
right. Yeah, you could just go have, just been some dude behind a counter your whole life and nobody would have ever gave a shit. So
yeah. Did you ever see The Wrestler?
That.
You ever watch the movie The Wrestler?
No, I know what you're talking about though. Mickey Rourke and
yeah. There was a scene in that where things had gone downhill and he was at a deli and it was kind of, he's just trying to pay his bills and just, it was weird. It was a great scene. Like, because in his mind, he's still backstage. Like he's going backstage from behind at the grocery store, like walking through. And then, in the, they have like these flaps that hang down. Like they kind of made it look like it was in his mind, like it's a curtain, like, and you're hearing the roar of the crowd, like, but really he's just at a Ralph's and it's like, then he opens it and then the music cuts off, the applause cuts off and he's just out there. And at first he was really shy, like, cause he didn't want anyone to recognize him. And then eventually he puts the thing behind his ear and he really embraces it. And he's like, "Hey, what you need today? You need something?" And he's like working it. But there was a couple moments where people were recognizing him and being kind of rude about it. "Hey, hey man, aren't you that?" And that kind of thing. And it was interesting to see that,
Yeah, that's crazy. That would be weird. The fall.
Yeah.
The fall. Yeah, that would be hard.
And that's, I think sometimes, especially if someone's known for a certain look or something. So maybe it does help when they change that, like people like David Letterman, right? Like now he's got the beard and not the David Letterman that was in our, he wasn't, that's not the David that we know from our living room from the 80s. And you know what I mean? Like,
not at all. Retired Dave is like, wow.
Yeah.
Amish Dave. Okay.
Exactly. Have you ever done that? If you think you'd ever go for the beard?
Two things. I probably can't grow a beard. It would take probably 1,000,000 years for this to turn into a beard. I get scruffy, but I don't think it could turn into a beard. And number two, the wife already told me, because I've done acting things where I put on a fake mustache, and my wife's like, "Yeah, you look too much like your dad." So no.
That's hilarious.
Beard guy.
Yeah, that's funny. I did
like not having it.
It's funny because I grow this up and I've been shaving it, like every 5 days or something. But people will be like, you should let it grow. You'd look good. So I let it grow for about 10 days. And then I'm like, this doesn't look good, man. And even my friend, we went to Pop's Big Boy and he's like, "I think it's run its course." I'm like, I was like, yeah, because I think people imagine how good it's going to look. But then when it really, it's like, when
it gets there, they're like, maybe not. My bad.
We were wrong. Sorry. And you're just like, scratching it.
Yeah. Now that I see it, I'm thinking no.
I know. Yeah. You would look really good with a handlebar mustache. Then you're like, really?
Are you sure? You sure?
We were wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. You look good with the 1920s gangster look.
When people rent their houses out, do they, what's in it for them? Do they get like a lot of money for that or?
Yeah.
Like, have you heard any amounts thrown around out there?
I mean, I know exactly how much they get. I knock on your door, I'm handing you the check. So yeah, I know exactly how much money you're getting. Yeah.
Like in the past, like give us some numbers. Like what?
Let's say it's just 3 days. So they're going to prep for a day. Prep is getting it ready. And then the shoot day is the day we film. And then a strike day is when they get all their stuff out, put all your stuff back. So the prep and strike days are usually a little cheaper. So let's say you have a giant house. Let's say you have a mansion so you're going to get more money than just a regular house.
Or
if it's real invasive, like they're filming it, they're going to put stuff in your garage, they're going to be in the backyard, they're filming in your living room, the master bedroom, they want a bedroom, we're going to hang out in the kitchen, we're in the dining room. Okay, so they're taking over your whole house, so you're going to have to go away. We're going to put you up in a hotel for 3 days or 2 days, because you can't be there, and that's best. You don't want to see it. You don't want to see this. You don't want to see 80 people walking around your damn house with all that equipment. You don't want to see it. Trust me. Take the check. Get the fuck out of here. Go stay in the goddamn hotel. Order out. And when you come back, you're going to be like, it's weird. It's like nothing happened. Wow. You're going to walk in and I'll be like, hey, what's up? Let's do the walkthrough. And I'm like, so we put everything back. Does this look cool? You look around, you're like, yeah, that's cool. And I'm like, hey, you know what though? They bumped your windows. So this window over here got cracked. That's got to get replaced. They're like, cool. Got a guy. Write that down. They'll get an estimate. They'll fix that. They scraped this wall over here, but a magic eraser should take care of that. But this wall, they took out a little piece. So that's going to have to get some plaster in it and paint this wall. They'll get the estimate. They'll take care of all that. And then you go through and you're like, yeah, the homeowner's happy. I've noted the damage, blah, blah, blah. And then I leave and I'll probably never see you again. Or maybe I'll come back in a year, or maybe it's a TV show and this is that actor's house. And I'm going to hand you this check every now and then. So let's say the prep days are $5,000 and the strike day is $5,000 and the shoot day is 10. So I'm showing up and I'm like, good morning. It's like 6:30 in the morning. You're tired, but here's your check for $20,000.
Wow.
And then plus, you got a dog and a cat, and you had to board the dog and the cat. And so, whatever that costs, and then the hotel money. So yeah, dude, I could be handing you a check for $30,000. And you're like, cool, here's the keys. Here's the Wi-Fi password. Peace. And you're out.
That must be with people that are very trusting too, right? Like they got to make sure that not like they're, you know what I mean? Certain things are out and, like hanging around on the walls, and you know what I mean? Like you don't want they got to make sure nobody like picks up anything and steals it and stuff. In other words, they got to be trusting, I guess.
Yeah. Everybody's different, but I will say this about film crews. They are trusting. They're very trusting. I'm never worried about, I'll put my backpack down. I'm not worried about anybody stealing my iPad or going through it. Film crews are very trusting. Now, I'm not talking music videos. I'm not talking reality TV shows. Those are nightmares. You don't want music videos in your house. You do not want reality TV shows in your house. They're rough and tumble. They're non-union. They're disrespectful. They don't have any money. Yeah, F that. They'll fucking damage your shit. They're wild. They're crazy. They got no time. Music videos, those people always come with a goddamn entourage. Yeah, no, you don't want that bullshit. It's bullshit.
Wow. And is there like so you made it sound like very appealing for some people to be like $20,000 and they put me in a hotel. Are there like lots and lots of people being like, use my house? Is it a very competitive thing? Wow.
Well, a lot of people, like I said, the lady I work for, she has a huge list of houses, and I've rarely been back. There's only a couple houses that I've been to twice. And that lady, one of the ladies, I've been to her house twice. Like, she doesn't even care. She gets that check and she's like, her kids are in the car waiting when I show up, and the car is running, and I'm like, here's the check. She's like, here's the keys. She's gone. And she's going to her other house on the other side of town because she's got 2 houses.
Nice.
And this is the house they let people film in. And the other house, I don't know which one they actually live in, to be honest with you. There's a few people I've worked at their houses like that where they actually rarely even live in the house that we film in. It's just kind of their other house.
I was on a TV pilot and they rented a house out in Santa Clarita, and it was funny because I didn't understand what was happening at first. I knew we had trailers like on the street in front of it, and I thought for some reason oh, maybe it's the director's house and then I realized like, oh no, they've rented this out. Like they didn't know
that shit.
Yeah, because and I remember they blacked out all the windows for like the night scenes and stuff. And I also remember it being very hot in there because it was over 100 degrees, and then they got to turn off the AC to film. And
whenever you're talking,
dude, it was like, wow. I mean,
brutal.
And I realized like this is someone's house. Like I remember going in because they had craft service like in the kitchen area.
Yeah.
And I was just like drinking coffee, looking at the person's personal like little tchotchkes and knickknacks and photos. And I'm like, because you're just drinking coffee waiting for your scene, but you're realizing like I'm getting a peek inside somebody's house that has no idea that I'm even in here. Like this
I don't allow that in the house, by the way.
Oh.
No fucking way. Get it.
Yeah,
get that shit out of here. Yeah, that ain't not enough to watch. There's no
right.
Unless they've absolutely got that cleared by the homeowner, like way that discussion was had. Yeah, there's no crafty allowed inside. I put up signs that say bottled water only. And I'm walking through that house.
Yeah.
You are. I do not care. Sorry, coffee outside. Hey, that's the director. I'm like, yeah, cool.
Coffee outside.
Can drink his goddamn coffee outside. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
This is someone's house, and it saves production. I always just tell them, it saves you. That knucklehead sets his, because I know how crews are, dude. They leave half-eaten food. They just set it down because someone calls them on the radio or whatever, or they're just used to people picking up their garbage, so they just set it down on a fucking piano or whatever.
Right.
I'll just set my sandwich out on this goddamn piano, and they think the whole world is a set, and it's not. I mean, because when I do one of the, like, if I work at one of the public buildings or something, I can't tell you how many times I've had to tell people like, hey, you can't put that there. And they go, why not? I go, well, that's still a door. You got to move this, like this, just because you're here. Yeah, that did not make this no longer a stairwell. So yeah, that's still a stairwell. And they're like, oh, okay. I'm like, come on, man. Like common sense goes, when they're on set, dude, they're on set, they're lost. That's it. That's all they think about. And I'll have people go like, we own this. We own this. And I go, you don't own shit. Tonight, you are renting this space, but you own nothing. I love saying that, by the way. When you get cocky, like, we own this. Like, no, bro. You don't own nothing, dog.
Right.
You're just, by the grace of God and your huge check, you're here for the next 12 to 14 hours. That's it. And rules still apply.
That's right. I love it, man. They we're gonna wind down the podcast now. I want to thank you for coming on. What I gotta ask you, for Full Charge Power Hour, that I know you're a regular, Matt and Wendell, I think you guys have taken a hiatus or something.
Yes.
What's going on with that? What's the word, or do you know? Or
I feel like maybe we might be coming back soon.
Okay, that's good.
In what form, I'm not sure. I just got hit up by Mr. Charge the other day, saying like, "What's up? How you doing?" And then asking about maybe doing a show, and I was just like, I'm here. I'm ready. Let's do it, buddy.
That's cool, man. Because it's funny. I as I'm sure like our listeners that are watching this or listening to this, there's podcasts I keep in rotation, and I dip in and out. Like I miss episodes, but then I come back and then I binge listen, and that's how I've been with you. You guys have been one that's consistently in the rotation. Like
nice.
There's like probably like 10 or 11 podcasts that I want to get away from certain things. Sure. Like, oh, these guys are boring, but let me go check out the Full Charge, and then, or whatever. And then it's like, and then if something topical happens and I want to listen to, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But you guys have, I'm on episode, I want to say like, I'm almost at 200 episodes now. I'm probably like 187 or something.
Far out.
Any idea how many episodes you guys have done?
We were close to 500. I guess if you included the Patreon, we'd be at 500 because I guess we did something like 50 or 60 Patreons
for a lot of years though too, right? Like I mean, like
yeah, we did hit 400. I know that. I know we hit at least 400 of regular episodes, and then I want to say there's like another 50 of Patreons, and we might have been at like 450. It was one of those when we stopped, Matt's like, I know we should go to 5 and then maybe stop, but it's just one of those where you're like, that's just too far down the road. Like, let's just take this break now. And then
sometimes you need a break, right? Is that what it was? Because he was touring again, and sometimes you just need that break.
He got super busy. He was moving from New Orleans back to New York, and then he hit the road with Tom Segura, which like doing some 5,000 seaters.
Wow.
So yeah, my boy was busy going at it. I was crazy busy with work. So it was good to take a break. I have completely run out of stories. That's why I can tell you stories because on your show.
I know, right? I know.
Yeah, cool. I can reach into the old bag of old stories.
Dude. Oh, I know. In fact, what I'll do next time is I'll maybe listen to some of those old stories. And this is one of the first times you and I have done this without like, because sometimes I'll be like, hey, can you tell this story or that story? This time I'm like, you know what? Craig's a talker. I can, I'm a it's just, there's a thing. And
for sure.
It's not like those people where, where it's an interview, where I'm like, so tell me what,
right.
But I'm glad to hear you. I'm glad to hear you guys will be doing something, because that's the thing. I do get the idea of the burnout, but I also, when you're in the right mindset, you realize like how fun these things are, and they're kind of easy once you get the rhythm down,
I miss chatting with Matt for sure, dude. That's my guy.
Yeah. And it's got to be a thing where, like at first it's kind of a little vacation, and then it's got to be like, as you're driving on the freeway, you're like, oh man, I wish I had a place to tell this story about this guy at the 7-Eleven or whatever, and it's so good that we have these outlets now.
Yeah, I can't tell you the hole that he pulled me out of when me and him started doing the podcast, the depression hole I was in when I got that call, and just like, I'll never forget it. And it put me back into acting and comedy and being creative again. And just like, just blessings from nowhere. I was just like, unbelievable. It was just fantastic.
Amen to that, man. I got to tell you,
changed my life. Yeah, completely changed my life.
I get it, dude. I get it. It's like, I got to ask you. So one of the things I like to ask is if there's anything you've bought recently or purchased recently that's made you just a little bit happier. Speaking about pulling yourself out of depression, I'll start. Because I oftentimes will ask, then I forget to be like, oh, I forgot to say what my thing was. And my thing is really simple, and it's helped me a lot. And it's to break that, for the most part, that habit of doing fast food late at night. Because I would do a gig and I'd be like, oh gosh, I will say this. I did a gig last week in Temecula, and I literally put the yellow banana on the passenger seat. So I said, after the gig, I'm going to eat that banana. Right. And I'm looking at the banana, and I'm saying goodnight to the promoter, and we're talking, but I looked out the windshield, and right across the parking lot was a Taco Bell. Like all lit up. I know. And I go, how late is it open? Yeah, exactly.
How late is it open? Forever.
Yeah. Yeah. And he goes, oh, you got time. They don't close for another 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. And then I'm looking at that banana, and I'm like, and I'm looking at Taco Bell, and I know I have another like hour and a half drive or whatever. Right. And I'm like, screw it, I'm going to Taco Bell. But I will say, for the most part, and I'm not going to, Taco Bell did make me happy, but what I was going to say, for the most part, what's made me kind of happy, this little thing that I've done, and is I've got a Ziploc bag, and I put raw almonds, like, unsalted, just regular, healthy, good for you almonds. But then I also mix in that bag honey covered cashews. So there's like these delicious cashews that are mixed in there. So you're getting some good almonds that are
little sweetness.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, man, that's saved me money. It saved me calories. It's gotten me from point A to point B without being tempted to go to whatever. And I'm like, I actually feel like it's helping me, you know, and so that's my advice. Anybody's out there, they want to lose a little bit of weight or maintain their weight. Ziploc bag, put some mixed nuts, make your own variety, keep it somewhere. So you're not constantly looking at, you know, In-N-Out Burger or Five Guys or Whataburger or wherever you're at.
Hell yeah, dude. Heard that. Oh,
I got to tell you one more thing that I discovered. So, you know, I've been doing this because I as you get a little older, especially once I got past 40, I was like, man, my arms are getting soft, my belly. So I write down every day I do 50 push-ups and 50 sit-ups, and it makes me consistent. I'm like, I just do it now. I don't even think. You know, even if it's one of those mornings, I'm like, I don't really want to do it, and then I'll at least, I have done this a couple times this month even. I'll do it like girl style where you're just on your knees, and I'll do like 10 like that just to kind of warm up the muscles. Sure. And then I'm like, all right, I did that, you know, and then I'll do the next 10 like whatever. But I think, and so the new thing that I added this morning, I saw this video on YouTube. This actor said he got shredded by doing 1,000 punches, just like shadow boxing, not even punching, just 1,000 punches. And so today I did 500, you know, like 100, took a break.
Shadow boxing.
It took like 45 seconds for each 100. So it's like, it doesn't take that long. And then you drink some water, and then you do it. And I'm telling you, it's like, I only did 500. It didn't take that long. I mix that in with the push-ups and sit-ups. It's like, man, that's a great way to, you know, start the day, I think.
Nice.
But anyways, that's my little advice tip thing I wanted to share with the world. Is there anything that you've recently
I don't know. Did we talk about this last time? My records that I bought?
Yeah, you bought some right. That's cool, man. You're riding the happiness off the records. No, it's okay.
So I did already talk about that. Shit. What else did I buy recently? Plants. We bought more plants.
I think you talked about that too. You're like, and those plants were marijuana. No.
Well, I wish. No, they're still alive. The plants are still alive.
That's good. Are they growing, or they maintain their the same height?
No, they're actually growing. I've got this damn tree in here that's getting huge.
That's cool. Isn't that cool? Like to have a plant. So yeah. Here's one more thing I bought. So my wife had a birthday, and I was like stressing out because I'm like, dang, I want to buy her something. What can I get her? And I didn't know what. I'm like, what do you know? But I went just so simple. One of the things I did, and I'm like, this actually made me happy because I was like, it was cool. I went down to Party City and I bought some decorations. So when she came home, there's banner that says happy birthday. There's all these things hanging from the ceiling over there on the walls. It just made it look, and it made her happy. It made me happy. Yes. My son, his birthday's this month, so we're leaving it up all of September. It's like, it's really cool. It's like you cut, because you know what I mean. You walk in and
September.
Yeah,
it's birth timber. Excellent. Yeah, that's good stuff, dude. That's good stuff.
Craig, man, I want to thank you for coming on again, and I hope you guys get something going. And in the meantime, you know, let's keep you back on the Pocket Party podcast, and thanks
Absolutely.
for sharing a small part of your day and telling us about the inside world. You know?
Yeah. No problem, brother. No problem.
Yeah. Hey, let's
Always
post for
pleasure,
the
my friend.
Thank you. Let's post for the thumbnail. I always forget to do that. We'll do a little thumbnail thing. Let's lean into the camera kind of and just give me a smile, like, yeah. You know it.
Yes.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much.
Awesome, dude. Take care, bro.
Thanks, Craig. Thank you. Later.
Absolutely, man. Later.
Everybody listen to Darren Carter. We all know he's the party starter. So if you want to listen to a podcast for free, then listen to the Pocket Party.